What's good, Lunar and SorenPlays back again with a brand new deck science video. I know it's been a while since we've done a deck science video. It's just because a lot of the decks that I've been wanting to do profiles on usually gets talked about on another channel, and I don't feel like triple or double tapping a deck is very conductive to the community when you can just go watch them instead. But today I have a fun video. So normally when I do deck science, I just go over the deck, and that's really it. It's not really much science involved. But this one is. See, this deck right here, it's not properly built. I say this, I have picked up a few wins with this deck, and I shouldn't have, but I have. So the other night, I wish I was recording this, I was able to get the perfect hand to burn my opponent for 15 and win the game in one turn because they had a mulligan twice and they summoned an Elestral. In one turn, I was able to pull that off with this deck. I shouldn't have been able to, but I was. So I figured I'd do a deck profile video to go over the deck, how it's not built correctly, how sometimes it might not have to be built correctly in terms of the standard that a lot of decks have with the counter runes and the Elestrals. And then I'll go over a few cards that will be enhanced by this once Moonrise comes out, and a couple that will hinder this, and other cards we can put in and kind of balance it out. Alright, let's get into it. First, the main star of the deck, Sinder. In case you don't know who Sinder is a 3/2 Elestral, and when he receives one or more Fire Spirit, your opponent must send the top 3 cards from the deck to your hand. Now in Moonrise, Sinder, this guy right here, gets an Ascension form, where at that point, he becomes a 3/3, I believe. Let me pull it up real quick. Yes, it becomes Salashade, who's a 3/3. It's a 2 cost. It's a Fire Lunar Elestral. Salashade gets +1 attack for each Elestral in your opponent's underworlds. So, by milling your opponent's cards, the more Elestrals that get put in there, the stronger Salashade will be. And then, when a player casts an Elestral, an opponent must send the top 3 cards of their deck to the underworld, which will power him up even more. I think that's really cool and would really enhance his deck. So with Sinder, you just summon it, and it mills 3. Can't go wrong there. I played 3 of these. So at first glance, without nexusing or anything, it's automatic 9 cards milled from opponent's deck. Now remember, an opponent's deck is 40 cards, and when they start, they draw 5. So that leaves 35 cards in a deck. If you play these in one turn, or over a couple turns, that's 9 cards. That's a fourth of their deck already gone to the underworld, not including what they have in their hand and drawing. Then for the beat purposes, I have 3 Necros, 5s, and it helps burn your opponent. See, this deck is a combination of a mill and burn deck. So your opponent has to decide what would they rather do. Take the burn, such as when Necro destroys an Elestral and you have to burn, or do you stop Sinder that mills your deck? Alright, so we got those 3. Then we have 3 Ash Rabbits. It's not a good deck without rabbits. You could put Ash Rabbit in here, but I'd rather have Ash Rabbit because they cycle. This is what helped facilitate my OTK the other night. So in my hand, I had no Elestrals. I had 2 Eruptions. I had my Volcanic Forge, and I had a Nog in my hand. I only kept it because it was meme and I was just goofing around with friends. So my opponent goes first. He mulligans twice and played an Elestral in defense and a face down. The face down rune is a PTA. It's not really relevant, but I just want to tell you what it was. So on my turn, I draw a card. Still not an Elestral, but it's my PTA. Alright, cool. So I have a PTA. Not really helpful. I set it. So then I play my Nog. I play my Nog. I draw into Ash Rabbit and my 3rd Eruption. So what do I do right off the bat? I play all 3 Eruptions. Burn my opponent for 9. I play Ash Rabbit. Get back Eruption. Play that Eruption. I play Volcanic Forge and a Circle of the Sky. I forgot if I mentioned I had Circle of the Sky. I played Circle of the Sky, take off Volcanic Forge onto Ash Rabbit, get the 5th Eruption burn my opponent. Opponent has 1 Elestral on the field, but it's a 3 attacker. Can't get over my Ash Rabbit. I win. That was my game. I really wish I recorded it because it was funny and I didn't think it would happen. But Ash Rabbit, in case you didn't know, it's a 2/5, so it's just like Ash Rabbit. But when it receives, I can target 3 cards in my underworld, and then my opponent has to choose. Now, if you have 3 of the same card in the underworld, it's a guarantee this is what you're going to get back. So you can do that for late game Ambrosias, keep cycling Ambrosias and getting them back and filling your deck back up. Or in this case, Eruption, where you keep burning your opponent. Now, unfortunately, in Moonrise, they revealed a invoke or a counter rune for Thunder, where it negates it, and instead of my opponent burning, I burn. So that's a little nerf to burn decks like this. It's kind of rough. It's only a 1 cost, so to use it against Eruption, it feels good because you're burning your opponent versus him. So I play 3 of these. Then I play 3 Kinleos for the Nexus abilities. For this deck, you don't necessarily have to play 3 Kinleos. I just like it for its Nexus effect to where I can Nexus onto Sinder, mill you for 3, pop in Elestral. Great combination. It works out once you get your board state going. Then I have 2 Humbusts, where Humbust is a 1/2. It's when a player casts a rune, and an opponent must send the top 2 cards from the deck to the underworld, and you can use it up to 4 times per turn. So at most, you can send 8 cards per turn based off of Humbust. Now, this card's in here with like Circle the Sky, where you can Nexus onto someone else. And when you Nexus on, let's say, a Sinder, where you mill for 3 from Sinder, then Humbust mills you for an additional 2 because you played a rune. And then if you play Volcanic Forge on top of that, that's another 2. You played Ambrosia to get your spirits back, that's another 2. It adds up and stacks pretty quickly. Even if a counter rune gets played, or if your opponent wants to stop a counter rune, they still have to pay another 2 mil. It's really great. I play 2 of these. Then I have 2 Humburst. You could probably play without Humburst, honestly, because this basically just suicides almost, to where you send the top 6 cards of your deck to the underworld by disenchanting both a fire and a solar. Once we get some of the more Moonrise cards, this is probably going to be replaced with Salashades. But this is cool just in case you want to end the game real fast. Then I played the 1 copy of Blazerous, just in case I wanted to ascend and beat over and help clear the board. And then I have a Trifernal on top of that. These 2 you really don't need. I use it just because they're strong Elestrals and their Ascensions. So if you have enough board presence to help get over strong cards, this is it. Now, if we did a countdown of how many Elestrals in this deck, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Now, 18 is usually where you want to be at for Elestrals. But like I said, some of these cards can easily be replaced, like the Trifernal, Blazerous, and the Humburst. So I'm going to throw in like 2 Salashades and some other cards. Now let's get into the rune package. A lot of it's kind of simple, but kind of not. So we have the 3 standard Ambrosias. You gotta get healing for this. Since fire doesn't have a natural healer right now, Ambrosias is what you need. Thankfully, they did just reveal a healer Elestral called Torchin. He's not like the traditional healer where you cast it and you automatically heal 3 spirits, or every time you enchant it, like Tratagua, you get 2 spirits back. Torchin is very special to where when it declares an attack, you heal spirits up to the number of fire enchanted spirits on the board, which is really unique and cool because even though it's like a 1/1, you can still attack a defense position monster. It doesn't do anything, so you just automatically heal. And then if your opponent has to stop the attack, it just feels bad for them that they have to spend 2 to usually negate it. So it's kind of cool there. Then we have 3 Eruptions for the mill portion, or not mill, for the burn portion. Like I said, this deck has 2 modes. It has burn, and it has mill. Burn is a good option, but like I said, there is that new counter rune for Thunder coming out that kind of nerfs it a little bit. So be warned if your opponent has a Thunder deck. I wouldn't be surprised if they either main it or side it just in case for eruption decks. Then we have 2 Altar Stars for Nexusing. You can run 3. I don't. I probably should. This is to help facilitate Sinder milling. Nothing more needs to be said there. Then we have 2 Gorgons, pretty standard. 2 Tsunamis. Then I have 2 Serverless Skies for Nexusing and draw power. I have 1 Volcanic Forge. I know only 1 stadium feels bad. You could probably run 1 or 2 more. I have 1 Nectar of the Gods just for more additional draw power on top of Serverless Skies. It helps facilitate your draw power. Normally you would only play these really when Humbust is out to kind of mill as fast as possible. I have 1 Helios Shade Rides, so if in case I want a Nexus or Ascend without fear of the back row, I play a Helios Shade Ride, then I can go into my Blazerus and then start destroying things and then go into Trifernal and do a combo that way. I have 1 PTA. Kind of feels bad to only have 1 PTA in this deck. Like I said, this deck isn't really optimal. I kind of threw cards together for the mill and burn purpose. I have 1 Chains of Prometheus to help counter a back row. And then I have a Hephaestus for a Nexus Bank. So like I said, this deck isn't optimal because I only have technically 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 counter runes almost. I mean, I technically have more with like Helios, but that's in Prometheus, but I mean like the traditional back row that you have. So obviously you can run some shields. But like I said, this deck isn't optimal. I would add Salashade. Honestly, this deck needs a purpose. So like, it's cool that I have mill and burn, but I feel that it should either be just a strict mill deck or a straight burn deck. So if I were to make it a straight mill deck, cards I would include, because once Salashade comes out, I would include Ignectar. Because let's say you bring out Salashade, and then it stays around on your field for another turn, and on your turn you have Ignectar in your hand. You play Ignectar. Ignectar brings out 2 other Ignectars on the field. That burns your opponent for 9 cards right there. Great combination. Another Elestral you can pair it with is Caperfume. Because Caperfume, you expend 1 Fire Spirit, then you get to play a 1-cost Fire Spirit. And use it that way and burn your opponent that way. Even your opponent playing defensive has to burn 3 mill 3 cards. So then let's get into the spirit math. We have the 2 Leviathan, 2 Luminate, which if you're not going to play the Humbust, you can take out. And then the rest are fire. Most people would probably say that's not optimal, but I say it works. At least to me it works. You know, you have some of these people like Trishula, no question, he's probably one of the great players of Elestrals so far. I really like watching his videos, but him going over what he deems optimal and what is suboptimal isn't fair, because to someone that deck list may be suboptimal, but to the person playing it, it feels natural to them and makes it optimal. It's just how it is. So that's my burn mill deck that I have been able to get a couple wins with, even though you looking at it, you would think I probably wouldn't, but I have. None of it has been from deck out. It's usually been from burning them enough to where they just run out of spirits. So I can't wait to try out these additional cards that have made mill even more powerful, because I think I can even run some golden apples of discords if I wanted to. I can think of a couple combinations with golden apple, discard Salashade, use Rise from the Ashes, bring Salashade, then do my combos with Ignectars and bring out Elestrals that way and start burning things. So that's me. That's my deck video. This has been Deck Science. I'm curious to see what kind of decks you want me to try to build or take apart and put together again. I should have another video up soon. I don't know. I do have a couple deck ideas that I want to try to put together. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Please leave a like. It helps spread my videos around and get other people interested in my videos. I could really appreciate it. I'm 7 or 8 away from 400. I want to try to get a 500 by the end of the year. Because then I'll be at one part of my goal for YouTube to get monetization. I have to be 500 subscribers, and then I need watch hours. So I'd appreciate it. Starting next month, I will be streaming a whole lot more because I'll be back on a normal work schedule to where I'll have a lot more time to stream. And definitely I'll be streaming a lot more once Clash comes out. We'll try to do as much Elestrals as we can. I know some of my normal people I collaborate with and just play games with, they have weird schedules too now. So maybe I'll just go in Discord and just find some random people to play, just to get some recordings in. Because I really regret now recording our casual match and record that 1K, the OTK. It was really great and hilarious. We were cracking up from it. Well, this is SorenPlays. Bye.